Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be looking at the very first Nanmu figure on the channel, and it's their second version of the Giganotosaurus, nicknamed King of the Border. The one I have in front of us is the PVC version. They also released a second version as a part of their Dragon Soul series. I don't buy the Dragon Soul models, mainly because they're too expensive, and we all know that resin isn't exactly what you would call durable. Now, this is clearly based on the genetically modified beast seen in Jurassic World Dominion. Nanmu did in fact release a Giganotosaurus about 2 years ago, which was more on the scientifically accurate side. Given that the company is known for making among the best non-official Jurassic Park products, it was no surprise that they would tackle the Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus. And boy, Nanmu did not disappoint us at all with this model. I've been wanting a definitive Dominion Giga for quite some time. The closest thing for me was that supersized figure from the Captives line, and while it was still very well done, it was just too small to do full justice to the dinosaur, and Mattel's offerings have been really lackluster. So let's take a quick look at the packaging as always. So, it comes in this very smooth box, just like what PNSO and Reborn does. In front, you got a render of the Giganotosaurus, and in the background, you got the Misty Forest, very reminiscent of the Biosyn Valley Forest. On the top left, you got the Nanmu logo. On the bottom, the name of the product. And on the back, you've got a render of the model. So let's waste no time and take a look at the figure itself. Here is the Giganotosaurus out of his box, and oh my goodness, this thing is really something else. Nanmu continues to impress us with their highly detailed and movie-accurate Jurassic Park figures. I don't even think I need to do an in-depth review of this. Just by looking at him on the spin table, you can already see how great he looks. But since this is during the Dinosaurs channel, of course, we gotta do an in-depth review. Starting off with the head sculpt, I could stare at this all day. It is just the definition of beautiful. Just look at all of those tiny scales on the fenestra and on the eye, as well as the thick spiky crests. The teeth are quite gnarly looking and are conical, unlike the real Giganotosaurus, which has thin knife-like teeth. And I absolutely love how they added the glossy finish onto the teeth and the interior of the mouth. It really makes it look lifelike. And going down the figure, there's more of those intricately sculpted scales. Most of them aren't really uniform, but they seem to be more on the square side. And then you can see thicker scales on the muscular legs, the surprisingly non-pronated hands, and the shoulders. The base of the tail has some smooth detailing, and those tiny scales continue all the way down the tail. Well, almost all the way down. You can see it kind of stops here with the armor. And speaking of the armor starts at the base of the head and goes down the tail. See, just look how nicely detailed that looks. That is just awesome. This beast is a literal tank. And you can see the thick spiky hump, which some people have said looks very similar to a concavinator or an Acrocanthosaurus, two carnivorous theropods that were indeed related to Giganotosaurus. Going down to the underbelly, you can see these thick, square-shaped scales, which looks very similar to that of a crocodilian. The scales on the bottom, the armor, and the gnarly teeth makes me think that a lot of crocodilian DNA was put into this theropod. And of course, the cloaca slit. The paint job is fantastic. It is just as screen accurate as its sculpt. You can see that it consists of dark gray, some green, a tannish underbelly, and some white dry brushing. Definitely looks like an animal you would see in a forest or a swamp. Now, the Typhoon variant has kind of an orange or a sandy color tone, and the Gustav version has mainly light green. The pose is really nice and intimidating. You can see its fierce looking wide open mouth and its head and tail pointing to its right. And the pose is quite reminiscent of that one Jurassic World Dominion render, which I will put up on the screen. And I also love how Nanmu found a way to make the figure stand efficiently without the need of a base. Starting off with our comparisons, let's bring in Nanmu's first Giganotosaurus that they released about 2 years ago, and you can see it's more on the scientifically accurate side. Both are pretty much the exact same size, but this one is longer and this one is taller. Let's bring in some more Nanmu figures. Here is the T-Rex Alpha, clearly based on Rexy. And these two scale very well with each other. The Giganotosaurus in Dominion was indeed larger than Rexy. Now Nanmu is releasing a second version of this, and I might get it. I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of the Jurassic Park T-Rex design. Also, I heard it's going to be made out of resin, and I don't really like resin models. Let's bring in Nanmu's second version of their Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. Once again, these two scale very nicely with each other. Next, we have the very first model from this company, which is their Indominus Rex, or what they called it, the Berserker Rex. And you can see that the Giganotosaurus absolutely dwarfs her. Now, collectors have been wanting Nanmu to do a second version of their Indominus Rex for quite some time, ever since this one got retired. And I think it's definitely going to happen in the future. I mean, Nanmu already made second versions of their T-Rex, Spinosaurus, Carnotaurus, and Mosasaurus. Lastly, for Nanmu dinos, here is the Berserkeraptor, based on the Indoraptor, and Santiago the Baryonyx. Here we have the very unpopular Mattel Strike and Roar Giganotosaurus. And it is strange how the smaller figures from Toy Monster look way better. And they even stand well, despite having smaller feet. Next, let's bring in some scientifically accurate Giganotosaurus models, starting off with the recent PNSO figure. Let's also bring in the Eofano model. Now these two are contenders for my favorite accurate Giganotosaurus figure. Here is the wonderful piece from Safari Ltd. And the Carnegie Collection. Here's the recent Giganotosaurus from Schleich, which I quite like, and the infamous Papo Giganotosaurus. Here is the PNSO Therizinosaurus, which is absolutely stunning. Nanmu should really make a Dominion Therizinosaurus instead of just doing all of these redos. Let's bring in some reborn theropods, starting off with the bulky T-Rex Kiss. Right here, we have Rebor's monstrous-looking Saurophaganax, and their Disney Carnotaurus. Let's bring in a couple of Hammond Collection figures from Mattel, the recently released Concavinator, the Pachycephalosaurus, and the male Velociraptor. Let's bring in the Beast of the Mesozoic 1/35 scale Tyrannosaurus, which in my opinion is the definitive T-Rex figure. Last but not least, here is the Giganotosaurus next to the Collectae Xiphactinus and the Collectae Mini Xiphactinus. Well, there you have it everyone. That was my review on the Nanmu Giganotosaurus, King of the Border. Do I really have to say anything more about this? Nanmu did an absolutely fantastic job with giving us a great representation of the Jurassic World Dominion dinosaur antagonists. Top-notch detailing as always, as well as the great size and a screen-accurate sculpt and coloration. So to no surprise, I'm going to give this Giganotosaurus a 10 out of 10. I have to say, it's tied with the second version of the Spinosaurus for my all-time favorite Nanmu product. If you want this for yourself, you can buy it off of Lanatime Shop or AliExpress. If you guys enjoyed this review, leave a comment down below, hit that like and subscribe button, it really supports my channel. And I will see you all in the next video.